Hello, dear students and research scholars. Through this video, let us discuss another important topic in the area of research, that is, review of literature. Today, let us try to discuss the need, significance, and sources of literature review. A literature review is an important part of every research activity. In fact, it is the life of the research project. No research can be accepted without a literature review. Other parts of the research, like abstract, introduction, the background to the study, statement of the problem, aims and objective of the study, theoretical framework, methodology, significance and organization of the study are necessary. Literature review is a detailed account of relevant materials being investigated in order to know what other researchers had done and what has not been done. It shows how the present study will be different from previous one. It is very important in any research because it gives the direction to the research. It prevents the researcher from diverting into another topic. Literature review serves as a microscope that magnifies the difficulties of other research. The literature may be books and writings published on a particular subject. It is the existing body of knowledge, and the knowledge is growing rapidly. It gets even doubled in a very short span of time. Scholars and researchers and writers go on adding to the existing body of knowledge through their contributions in the form of writings and publications. In this context, literature consists of books, journals, which may be published monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or even annually. It may be reports, it may be research, dissertation, and thesis, it may be newspaper, it may be social media publications in the form of blogs, vlogs, etc. Now the question is, what is to be reviewed? Literature review is not mere reading for reading's sake. It is also not a casual reading like reading a story or like a novel. It is a selective reading. It is focused and directed towards specific purposes. The researcher has to select the kind of literature to be reviewed and determine the purpose for which he has to review them. The literature review starts with the selection of a problem for research, and it continues through the various stages of the research processes, and it ends with report writing. So therefore, we can say that the reading or the review of literature that starts even for finding out the research topic and developing the research topic, it will keep on progressing until the writing of the research report. Need of review of literature or the important purposes of reviewing literature are to understand the background knowledge of the research topic that we are selected, to identify the concepts relating to it, potential relationships between them, and to formulate researchable hypotheses. So the review of literature may support, may helps to identify the concept relating to the research topic that we have selected, or it would help us to formulate the research hypothesis, probable outcomes, to identify appropriate methodology research design, measuring concepts, and techniques of analysis. It is to identify data sources used by other researchers. It is to learn how others structured their reports, and more importantly, it is to identify the research gap. See here, through doing extensive review of literature, one would be able to identify the research gap. Otherwise, it will be the repetition of what others have done. It is waste of time, waste of resources. Therefore, these are very important factors or the purposes of conducting extensive review of literature on the topic that we are selecting. The need of review of literature under the various stages of research. If the research is in the initial stage, that is under the identification of the research problem, then the kind of literature to be reviewed are: one, the source materials in the form of encyclopedia, textbook, reference book, latest publication on the discipline, ICSSR Survey of Research in Sciences, bibliography of doctoral dissertations, which is published by the Association of Indian Universities, for example, Vidyanidhi, etc. The thesis in the selected area of research, and going through this material, we will be able to gain the preliminary orientation and background knowledge. It is to gain up-to-date knowledge in the area of research or in the field, to know the work already done on the particular subject. Importantly, to identify the research gap, it is to avoid duplication. If we are under the formulation of the research problem, then we can refer previous studies in the relevant field from journals, published and unpublished thesis, etc. It will help us to become very familiar with the appropriate methodology and research techniques which is relevant to the study. At the time of operationalization of the concepts, it is ideal to read previous studies in this field, maybe through journals. Published and unpublished thesis may help us in this regard. Purpose of review at this stage is for clarifying concepts and knowing measurement techniques. At the stage of preparation of research proposal, it is ideal to read illustrated books on methodology of research, published and unpublished thesis. So it will provide you to develop alternative designs for formulating hypothesis and deciding sample design, etc. would support you at this stage through reviewing such kind of materials. It is at the stage of construction of tools for collection of data, maybe at the time of preparation of schedule or questionnaire. It is ideal to refer illustrated books on methodology of research, published and unpublished thesis. Along with that, copies of tools and scales furnished in the appendix of the thesis shall be referred, which may support you for making the tool for collection of data. It is to gain a thorough knowledge of the process of tools and the measurement of techniques. Further, while drafting the theoretical chapters and the theory parts of other chapters, it is ideal to read journals, textbooks, reference books, and the reports on the particular subject matter. It is to take notes and compile the bibliography. Hope you would understood What are the kinds of literature to be reviewed in the selected field of study at different stages? Then the question is, how can a researcher identify the related materials? Research procedure involves a series of steps. The exact sequence will vary depending upon the subject and knowledge of the researcher. A general approach is suggested here. First of all, the researcher can request to the learned professors, librarians, or others, those who are familiar with this field, to suggest relevant references. He can find out whether any bibliography already prepared on the subject is available in the library. He can consult bibliographies in the thesis on the topic and related topics. He can see that the card catalogs of the library. There may be author catalog cards if the authors of the books are known, and subject catalog cards to locate the titles and other details of the books on the particular subject. Examine periodicals, monographs, reports, and conference proceedings and other materials, including microfilms, CDs available in the library. The researcher can consult reference cited in the books and the articles already located. Each book or article will be a means for locating additional references. Consult the abstract journals on the subject or abstract section in the journals relating to the subject. See the book review pages in the daily newspaper and in the journals, so that you will be guided to some point from where you will be able to get at least few materials. From these materials, again you can furthermore proceed with through its references. There are many sources of literature. Primarily, it is said to be primary sources of literature as well as secondary sources of literature, and there is tertiary sources of literature too. In the primary sources of literature, the characteristics of primary sources of material are: it is high level in detail. For example, reports, thesis, email, conference proceedings, company reports, unpublished manuscript sources, some government publications, etc. are example for primary sources of literature. But if you look at the secondary source of literature, it will give you only a medium level of details, but medium time is required to get it published. And examples are journals, books, newspaper, some government publications too. But the third category, low level of detail, considerable amount of time needed to get it published. For example, indexes, databases, catalogs, encyclopedia, dictionaries, bibliographies, citation indexes are example for this category. While you doing the literature review, it should integrate a wide range of sources of material such as books, magazines, newspapers, journals, online articles. Textbook remains as the most important source to find models and theories related to any research area. Next could be the magazines. Industry specific magazines are usually rich in scholarly articles, and they can be effective sources to learn about the latest trends and developments in the research area. For example, the articles published in RBI bulletin, RBI journals, Reserve Bank of India journals are very rich in information. The scholars in the economic area can refer the RBI material. Similarly, reading industry magazines can be the most enjoyable part of the literature review, assuming that your selected research area represents an area of your personal and professional interest. Next could be the newspapers. Newspapers can be referred to as the main sources up to date news about the latest events related to your research area. However, the proportion of the use of newspaper in literature review is recommended to be less as compared to alternative sources of secondary data such as books and magazines, due to the fact that newspaper articles mainly lack depth of analysis and discussions. Journals may be collected through Scopus, Google Scholar, PubMed, JSTOR, Science Direct, Elsevier, etc. You can use this database for collecting relevant articles in your area of research. The next is online articles or online journals. Nowadays, there are many online journals, but you can find out online versions of all of the above sources. However, not that the levels of reliability of online articles can be highly compromised depending on the source due to the high levels of ease with which articles can be published online. Wide range of online discussion blogs cannot be usually used in literature review. Similarly, dissertations assessors are not keen to appreciate references to a wide range of blogs unless articles in these blogs are authored by respected authorities in the particular research area. So the point here is you can use a blend of this. You can utilize, you can integrate the blend of these sources of material, and the weightage should be given to refereed journals with the high impact factor published in good journals. Hope this information is going to be useful for you. If it is, kindly share it with your friends and others in your contact. If you have not subscribed my channel, kindly subscribe. Thank you very much once again.